It refers to the point of interaction between the user and a digital service, or the point of interaction between or product. So basically, when we're talking about UI, we are referring to what the user plays with. What are the things that the user use? What are the product that is the point of interaction between the user and that product itself? Take for example, all of us have smartphone and we have gadgets, and I want to believe at some point you use some applications and you used maybe uh, for those that are currently school, you've paid school fees before, so you've gone around the payment system of school fees, and possibly everybody's on social media, you know about WhatsApp. All those products is as a result of UI, their UI product. And you can see all of those elements play out. It is the color scheme, typography, layout, and all of this stuff. So that's what basically UI is all about. And the UX part of it is the experience. UX stands for user experience. And this is much more involved in planning, optimizing the experience of a person, as that it's optimizing the experience a person has when they interact with the product. So it's more or less the experience you feel. What you do, how does it go? Is it just scrolling through WhatsApp? What is the mood that you go when you scroll through WhatsApp? When you try to uh possibly you're trying to buy something on Jumia, what is the experience all about? Do you feel safe when they're asking you for your credit card? The way it looks like, um, let's say probably you are trying to sign up for Facebook now. How is the sign up process like? Is it something very tedious? Are they asking you too much of questions? Are you filling too much of forms? It is the UX aspect that takes care of that. It is actually talking about how user feels, the functionality of it, how it is supposed to work. Because the essence of UI UX is you're not designing just anything, you're designing for users. You're designing for people to use. You're not just designing graphics generally. So you are designing more than just pixels. You are pushing out product that people will use in real time. So that's what we are doing in UX design. So moving on, I'll be explaining UI also in breaking down, because part of UI is what you have done in the introduction and elementaries of graphics, whereby we did a lot that has to do with colors and all of those stuff that we went through typography, and I want to believe that we took note of all of those classes because all of those are very important. So um in UI we emphasize on the look, the feel, the interactivity of the product. We talk about the interface. How does it look like? Does it look good? Is the color combination very appealing? Imagine when you just open the WhatsApp and all the colors you're seeing is red, 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 red. It feels somehow. You definitely not want to continue with that particular app. You will definitely quit from it because the look is not really giving you the vibe for you to continue. And a UI designer considers elements to create an engaging interface, such as icons, typography, color scheme, responsive design. So icons are just basically vector elements that possibly they are used in replacement of the text. So, for instance, maybe a cat button. Whenever you see that button, when you see that what they call that icon, it makes you know that no, this is a cat button. You don't need to think twice before you know that this is cat button. When you see home button, you basically know that this is home. You don't need to write the caption there as home before you know that it's home. So all of those are things that UI designer considers. Typography we talked about typeface, we talked about typograph, we talked about typeface, we talked about font, yes. So we talked about color scheme too, how colors play out, the harmony within colors. We talked about the color wheels. All of those are still what you are going to use in UI. And responsiveness. If you open your learning website, there's a way it looks like on system. When you open it on a mobile phone, there's a way it looks like on mobile. So it's supposed to a UI designer is mainly focused with that responsibility to make sure that it is responsive and the components ensure a cohesive user experience. When users go through it, it is seamless. Now the UX part of it, the UX is actually creating the experience. How the user feel about it? what is the goal that that particular product is solving, what is it addressing, what is the value it's giving, and it aims to design products that align users during that delight users during interactions. So when users are engaging with this, what do they feel? How do they feel about that particular product they're using? That's the UX part of it. And as UX designers, what you're concerned about is you're creating personas, you're conducting research, you're doing design flows, you're doing wireframes, you're developing prototype, you're testing with users, you're improving product based on feedback. So what you are basically doing is you are doing more of the research part, you are doing more of the empathy part. You just want to understand the users, you want to put yourself in the user's shoes, you want to see how they are going to feel. So that's really what the UX designer is all about. So putting them together, the UI UX design, designer is somebody that's creating the UI at the same time is making interested in conducting research to ensure that what is developing or what is designing is usable and is something very, very, very appealing to look at. So that's basically the UI. So UI focuses on the visuals, interactive elements of the product to create an aesthetic pleasing interfaces. The UX part focus on seamless and meaningful user experience by understanding users' needs and conducting user research, designing intuitive interfaces. That's just basically the UX part of it. So as a UI UX designer, you are saddled with responsibility to create a very good application or website or whatever digital product you are creating and ensure that it is seamless. When people use it, they don't feel frustrated. When people use it, they feel happy to use it. I want to believe that the reason OP is trending is because their user experience is good. Imagine if maybe probably you're trying to send money to somebody and you got stuck and it's just telling you service anomaly or it's just rolling and it's rolling and it's rolling and it's rolling. You definitely don't want to go there again. So part of the things you are doing as a UI designer, UI UX designer is that you are creating a product that will help people to come back again, to come back again and come back again. So I want to believe you are still following me. Okay. So what makes a good UI UX design? Now, when we are talking about UI UX design, what exactly makes it good? What are the things that we do that makes that UI UX very good? Now, UI UX is user centered. And when I mean user centered, you are not just designing graphics, you are actually designing for real people. Now, I want to be biased a bit. Now, you're designing flyers actually for people, but maybe design something that okay, they use once, probably twice. It's not really that you don't want to keep. Imagine if somebody sends you a flyer now for maybe let's say um I want to look at that program that I'm organized in school. Let's say a departmental day or probably maybe like um what kind of program do you want to see? I'm trying to think if I can get down. Just a kind of program, let's say we are organizing a seminar very big now. We are organizing a seminar, we want to teach people maybe how to make money online and all of this stuff. Now, when you begin to push out the graphics or the flyers for that program, I want to believe it's something that you do almost every, let's say it's a program you run every month. Now, you would definitely not want to do that same design you used last month, this month. You want to go for something new, you want to go for something better, you want to add a bit of style to it. But in the UI, UX aspect, all you are interested about is the user. So you will see brands like Apple stick with what they've been using so far. You don't see them to only improve on their experience. They receive feedback from people, they work on it and they make it better. It's not as if they make it entirely different. You will see that there's consistency in what they do. They are, if you check what they are doing in the past few years, it's still the same style, it's still the same thing. But the only thing that has changed is the trend in the technological space. We try to adjust, we try to modulation. So user UI experience, what makes it a good UI design is that it's user centered. It's actually making the need of people. Probably people are finding like people that work in offices that stay 8 hours in offices and they find it very They find it not convenient to go out of their offices to get food. You are trying to sort down in the store. You are trying to put yourself in the shoe of somebody that is working, like say, let's say in the bank, that doesn't have that luxury of time to go out. Then you are trying to create a system whereby from the tip you can order a food and it gets to you, it goes to the gate to pick it up, it goes to the kitchenette or wherever they aside for their lunchtime and it takes it out and resumes his work without stress. So you're actually solving users' problem. That is actually what makes a good way UI UX design. So if you are not solving a user's problem, if you are adding to their problem, then there's a problem. You are creating more problems, and that's not a good UI UX design. Now, another thing that makes good UI UX design is intuitive navigation. You should find it very easy to say, okay, I want to do A, and you are able to do A. I want to do B, you should be able to do B. But when you begin to find that, where's the start? How can I start? How can I? That is definitely a problem. That is not a good value design. You definitely one point or the other have encounters with this kind of system whereby you want to do something and it tells you maybe try again later or maybe it keeps telling you you're just looking for that search button. You're looking for the search button and you can't just see that search button and you're just looking for it and probably maybe in the footer section of the website. So make sure that your page, your content is easy to understand and easy to navigate. Then another thing that makes a good UI UX design is consistency. Consistency in the sense that all of the elements you're using, all of the design elements you're using, you should not be using A-Tan as your font, and later on you are seeing somewhere you're using Time New Roman for your button text, and you are seeing poppins for maybe like a little text, and maybe your input text, you are seeing very huge fonts like Impact, or you are seeing Stretch Go, or all of this stuff. Yeah, definitely not going to be consistent. They will not be uniform. It's going to look scattered and look disorganized. So you must be consistent in what you're doing. Then another thing is responsive design, as I talked about. If you are checking a particular website on mobile and you're checking it on a desktop screen, you should not really find it hard. You should not really find it hard. Why is it big? Why is it not wrapping up with my phone size? Why is everything everywhere scattered? Things are not organized. My system is good. So one of the things you have started with as a UI designer is to create a responsive design. Then also your design must be accessible. It must be something that it will be usable across all boards, even people with disabilities, people that have color blindness, they should be able to see your design and not really have problem going through it. So that's really what makes a good UI design. I believe that people learn and in terms of. So um let's talk about website landing page structure. Now, the general website landing page has a bit of things that is follow, and particularly it starts with the navigation bar where you have the logo, the you have the logo, you have the menu bar, and the call to action button. That's basically what you have there at that section. Sorry, I think I omitted that. I've had it there. So after that is now when you have the hero section. The hero section is where you have the title, the big title about your website, the soft text, and maybe like a CTA button. So for instance, uh, um, unlock your possibilities. Maybe you have something else under the soft text, and you have maybe find talent now at the CTA button or apply now or let's say sign up now or learn more with the CTA button or contact us. A lot of all of those words like that calls for action that make the user to want to do something. So these are CTAs that are called call to action. Call to action is CTA. So also depending on what that website is all about, you can have features, you can have benefits, you can have testimonials and social proof. And another important section is the footer. So basically, the ones that are most important is the navigation bar on top, possibly the hero section, then the footer. Others depends on the nature of what you are trying to do. Then the text space, there's a way you organize all of those things. If you are in edutech, there's a way you organize all of it. If you're not in all of those and you're in another space entirely, another field entirely, there's a way you structure your particular layout and depends on how you want it to go. You have to do a lot of research, check Pinterest, check on Splash, sorry, check Pinterest, check Dribbble, pardon me, check the Google, check Behance, for inspiration, if I check Movings, Movings is one of the top resource platform that can give you real time what do you call real time applications that you can go through and see the flow, you can see the user flow. So instead of you thinking wide, you have something that's already been existing that you can just check through, go through and be able to further on with your own work. So now in UI UX design, there's something they call low fidelity and high fidelity design. Now, basically, you will definitely notice low fidelity at some point when you are trying to open an application and you just see this gray scale, this gray rectangles up and down and it's trying to reverse. Most of, especially YouTube use that, when you open YouTube, you kind of see that way loading all of those gray elements up and down. So they are basically low fidelity, and low fidelity is just like the structure of how the website look like, the skeleton of the real design. So here I have example of a particular mobile login screen that has a low fidelity on your left. You see the way that rectangle is there, that gray rectangle representing something, all of these boxes represent something, all of everything there represents elements. And by the time you refine it, on the other hand, you have high fidelity design where you are being specific in what all of those is. You can see that the the gray rectangle that is here has moved to having image. So you have image, it is being filled by an image. These two rectangles that are side by side is filled by an icon and a text. All of these rectangles became the input field and this became the button. And that is how you really go about being detailed about the design you go about doing. So that's the low fidelity and high fidelity. So in UI/UX, before you jump into anything, you need to do a sketch of what you're trying to do. Most times, I do it a lot. Most times, if I have lots of time, so it makes me to sit and say, okay, let me look at how it's going to be like. But most of the time, because I've been used to it. So I tend to do that in my mind. I tend to sketch how it's going to look like in my mind. And I feel my creative mind with a lot of inspiration. So by the time I'm coming up with something, I'm not just coming up with something that is not really good because I will have checked this, I will have checked like five different things. And there's no how if you check five different things, you should be able to create something that will be a unique element that as a result of you picking a lot of things from every other inspiration that I got. So those are part of the things you need to do as a UI designer. Yeah, actually being high fidelity design, but for you to get high fidelity design,
Recording in progress.
you can start. Hello, can you see me? All right, thank you so much. So, um, that's basically what low and high fidelity design is all about. So moving on, we have tools for UI design, and one of it is Figma. We have Adobe XD, you have Sketch, you have InVision, Photo, Wavesitter. So all of these have their own advantages to another. Figma is like the traditional software that is being used across board in all organizations where you're doing your job because you basically do things that people use. And it's a software that helps you to collaborate with developers, helps you to collaborate even with stakeholders. You have a lot of features on it. You have whiteboard. You have, in fact, now Figma has improved. You have slides. The slide I'm currently using, I did it on Figma because Figma helped me to do the slides. So you have Figma slides, you have whiteboard, that's the Jam, where you can write a lot of inspirations, you can write things out, and you have the design file, which is basically what we'll be using. You have Sketch. Sketch is basically used to, according to the name, sketch. You sketch out the design using a pen, depends on your software. If your device has a pen too, you can sketch something out and you can import your sketch to Figma so that you can turn it into a fully into a high field what's it called? Into a high fidelity design rather. So we have Proto helps you with prototyping. We have Adobe XD, also the same as Figma, but this is a software used by Adobe for Adobe Suite. It's part of Adobe Suite. So we have InVision, we have Whimsical. Whimsical helps you also with low fidelity designs, helps you with all of those elements in PUG. So when you are trying to come up with a concept, you can use Whimsical. Whimsical just helps you to just pull all of those things out. You don't need to think about the navigation back. You can just click and drag. The drag and drop software that just helps you to drag it out. You just drag input, you drag button, you drag icons, you drag images, depending on whatever element you want. So that is basically what those are the tools that we'll be using for UI UX design. So now that has come to the end of the brief introduction to UI UX, basic things you need to know. And now, since one of the tools that we have emphasized in the previous slide is Figma, and I am good with Figma. I use Figma a lot for all of my projects. I've been using Figma since back, let's say 2021. I've been using Figma. So I will definitely walk you through what Figma is all about, how you can design websites, the process between designing it and all of those stuff you're going to do. So I'm going to be sharing uh, this particular link. So for you to get started with Figma, you will definitely need a system. You can't do that on your phone. So you need a system to do this. So you open your browser, search for Figma, figma.com. So when you search for figma.com, it brings out this to you. Sorry, I think I need to open an incognito tab so that it can show you how it's going to look like. I think I have one. So let me share my screen. Sorry, give me a few minutes. Let me just share the screen one more time. I don't know. Can you see my screen now? Can you give a thumbs up if my screen is visible? All right, thank you. So, moving on, you can just search for Figma. For the reason I left that earlier is because I've signed into that. So when you search for Figma.com, it will not bring you to this landing page. It will take you to your file because I've logged in there. So for you that are just starting up, when you open this, you see something like this coming up to your screen. Uh, Config is actually like an event that happens almost on a monthly basis, depending where we talk about new things you want to improve on Figma. So if you have interest in listening to that, it's something you can register and join for free and listen to whatever they want to say. So, but for you getting started, just click on get started, and definitely you need your Gmail. So if your Gmail is signed in to your Chrome, you can decide to use continue with Google, or you go through the route of creating that email. Now, for me that I've created my account, I will definitely, when you click on it, it's now going to give you this particular um, view that I was trying to open up here. So let me come back to my screen, share this, so that come back in. So by the time you are opening this up on this screen now, so for me, I've logged in, so that's why I have this template. So whenever I search for figma.com, it takes me to Figma, it directs me to my account. So where you have this recent and all of those stuff. But if you're just starting up, you will definitely not have all of these tons of files. You will just have the basic file. Let me try to look for the basic files. Yes, you have this Feature basics, you have this build your team, and this. Those are three files that comes with it. They're just like a demo and intro to walk you through what you are going to be seeing in Figma. So if you open that up on your right corner, you can see this create. You can create a design file, you can create a feature file, you can create a slide file. Now Figma also has a desktop version. So this is a Chrome version. You have the Chrome version, the browser option, and at the same time you have the desktop version here. So the desktop helps you. Also, it's the same. There's not really much difference. The difference per se, because when I started with the web version. So the difference per se is just that this is Figma. So all of the tabs, just like you have tabs on Chrome, you have tabs here on Figma. But these tabs are not just any other links, but either is a Figma file or is a prototype or it's a Figma slide or it's a FigJam. So that's those are the files that you can open here. So also you have the same interface of creating a design FigJam slide just like you have it on this screen. So it's basically the same thing. So there's not really much difference to it. And one thing about Figma is you need to be connected to the internet to use it. So even the desktop application, the desktop software, you still need to be connected because for you to open your file, you need to be connected. Because one thing about Figma is you don't need anything on your system to store. You don't need to save. In fact, there was a time I was trying to come up with one of these Microsoft packages. I think that was PowerPoint. I've forgotten that there's something called Control S because I don't press it because basically all the work I do, I don't just press that Control S. I just keep working because it stays in the cloud. And I don't care if maybe my system crash or maybe something happened to my system or I'm somewhere I want to quickly work. I can just install my system, log into my account, and keep working. So it's one of the things that I see that I like about Figma. You can just use it anywhere. It's not as if it is on your system, you store it in your system, all your files are in your system. No, your files are in the cloud. So you can access it anywhere. Even if your system crash, this is like my third system, or if I'm right, this is like my third or fourth system. And yet I still have one of the files I used 2021, they are still here on my account since. So you don't really need to think about, okay, I need to get a system that has much storage. You don't really need more storage for this because all of your works are on cloud. So aside that, you can also work offline if you have all of the things you need, because why you will need internet connection once you need internet connection to load your file, one. Then once your file is opened, like let's say like this particular one here. Let's say now once this particular file is open now, I can disconnect from the internet because I can be working, I can do everything I want to do here except running plugins. There are things of there's a section in UI in Figma that's called plugins here, whereby you try to pick images or you want to pick icons or you want to do a lot of stuff. It's a wide software, so you can do that by connecting to internet. And also it has community whereby you can check what people have done. You can even check maybe Google documentaries about Android. You can check iOS documentaries on Android on the community space. So basically, whether you're using the web, you're using the software, you're still having the same interface. I want to believe that you're still following me and my screen is still visible to everybody. And just leave a thumbs, just do a thumbs up. So, alright, thank you so much, man. So now let's get into what you guys are trying to create a landing page. So as I said earlier that I checked online, I just decided to like a particular design that I saw. It's a particular website. Can pick a lot of websites, but I just feel like since today is the first time we are laying hand on UI links, I want to design, and part of our objective is to come up with a landing page. So we'll try to see how we can run with this and create something like this today. It's not really hard because all of the things you see here are just basically text and images. And I have made justice to get all of these images so that it will be quick for us to compile all of this. So without in, uh, without further ado, let's move into Figma. So once you create your file from here and you create a new Figma file, a new Figma design file. It opens up a design for you, and you can, yeah, basically adjust the name here, can change it to something else. You have all of these, and all of these interface you are seeing here is the same thing you will see once you open something up. Let me try to open something up here. Okay, let me open this particular file. It's still the same thing you're going to see when you open this up. They are basically the same thing. Nothing is changing. So whether you're using the web or you're using the software, you are still having the same look and feel. There's no difference. So just wait for it to load. Yeah, so just the same way you can edit your name, the file title here, you can also do that here. Just the way you can click on this and it's bringing all the drop down, so you have it here. So there's nothing that you are losing or gaining per se as regards the UI. So now coming up with it, definitely let me try to see, we can walk through a lot of all of these screens you see here. Now we have pages. Pages is just like, okay, you want to create another page, just like it says another page, so you can have a lot of pages. I have a lot of things that I do here, so I basically have a lot of pages. But for you starting your new Figma file and your account, you definitely don't have all of these pages. You'll be just having maybe possibly just one. And one thing is for Figma, Figma has a pro and a free plan. So for a free plan, you have maximum of just 3 pages. But for a professional account, you can open as much as possible. You can open a lot of pages as much as possible. So for your account, you definitely be seeing something that looks like this. Let me see if I, yeah, you definitely be seeing something that looks like this on your account. 2 free pages left. So by the time I create one more page, I create one more page, it tells me that all 3 pages used. I can't use any other page again. So I have to possibly delete any of this before I have access to create another page. So that's the limitation you have when you're using a free account. Aside from that, also, yeah, you have, since it's something that saves your work on cloud, so you have the opportunity to go back in time. So you can show version history and see what you have done like few days ago. It keeps that track, but it's only for a month for a free user. But for a professional account, you can see as far back as 1 year ago, you can see what you did a year ago, and you can see the changes that you have made so far. So that's just part of the good part of you having a professional account than having a free account. But nevertheless, when I started UIUX, I started with a free account. In fact, I still have free account. I use free account to do most of my work. It doesn't, it's not a limit, it doesn't limit you to what you can do. So now what we'll be doing today to run through, and by doing so you'll be able to see how all of these things is made. You definitely see how it's going to play out. So you can just stay around with me and watch me do the design. And by the time we get to maybe possibly maybe while designing, we might open chances for anybody that has questions so that we as we are designing we can be answering our questions, because design is something that is a bit bulky. So I feel like by the time we go through all of this, we might not really have time to come back to answer most of the things. So while I'm doing it, you can ask me what did I do, how did I get this, and I just tell you all of those. So I believe we are fine with that. So I stumbled on this particular website called Branch, and it's a kind of furniture website where they sell furniture and gives you all of these details about furniture. So, and I love their designs because it's simple. There's no much interaction. There's no much all of those micro interactions like you see in most other applications. That you see animations, you see this one moving up and down. In fact, sometimes I usually love Apple's design. I don't know if they have taken that down for Apple. When you open up um, Apple, there's a way it always feel like I love all of this kind of feel. You see, it's simple. There's not much to it. It's something very, very slick. You can just check all of this. It gives you the opportunity to check all of these micro interactions. You see a lot of things about it. Very slick. I like the white space about Apple. I basically like the way the UI UX designer of this particular brand decided to go about it. It's you see a lot of white spaces. It's something that when you see it is not really, 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 really like something very bulky. It has a breathing space and very good. So also I love this one because this doesn't have really much things that for a beginner to basically need. So let's move further. So I have a screenshot of it on this particular page. This is the screenshot so that you can be looking at it and making use of it as a reference point. And as also I picked the colors that they use. This is my color scheme. And at the same time, all other assets necessary, exported them so that we can have a good thing to go with. So when you want to start your work on Figma, the first thing you need is a frame. So you will notice that on this bottom, you have all of these options here. So this is your move to. Automatically, it is on move to where you can just select, let's click on a particular item and you can move around. This is for those that are conversant with Photoshop. These are your layers panel where you have all of your elements. This is now where you have the properties panel, the design properties, the prototype, because in UI UX, you can also prototype your work and possibly see how it's going to look like when it's live, or possibly how the field is going to look like, all of the interaction that is going to happen on it. So that's part of what you do as a UI UX designer too. So you're going to see all of those. Now, but for me coming first time, you can just try to play around with this. It's still more of graphics experience, designing images, putting text, and all of this stuff. So you will need a frame, just like you will set a particular, I want to see the name they call it on Photoshop, maybe it's Canvas. You set a preset of a particular template you want to use, maybe it's A4 size or A3, or you decide to use pixels or use a square kind of design. So you have here. So here we have the move, the hand to when you left click, it helps you to move around. The move tool helps you to just take elements around the canvas. I mean, zoom out. As I'm moving this, others are not moving because this is the only thing I'm moving. But if it is the hand tool, when I come here and click on the hand tool, everything is moving because I'm moving the whole canvas. So for people that like very good with dark modes, this thing is okay. But if you definitely might not have this kind of my team, because I decided to customize this, you definitely have maybe the white one so you can go around and explore how to change the theme. And I can decide to make this page white. I just love this feel. You can make it this white, but I basically just like having it really dark mode so that I'll be convenient doing all the stuffs I want to do. Sorry. So now we'll create a frame that coming to this second one. So I think that's all about it. Okay, scale. Scale is from the name, you scale things up so you can increase it. That's just scale. So now we have section, we have slice. So frame is basically what we'll be using, because on your right hand side now you see that for everything you press here, it changes there. So for the frame is this that have this kind of grid. You have a phone, you have phone frames, is it Android Compact, is it Android Medium, iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro, depending on the screen you want to use, and their dimensions are roughly there also. You have the tablet, maybe I designed it for a tab. You have all of these iPad mini, Surface Pro, Android Expand. You also have for desktop, you have presentation, maybe it's a slide. We have for those I want to do for smartwatch, you have all of those particular frame here so that you are not just doing something big now, and by the time the developer want to implement it, it will not look good. So the essence of having all of this is just to make you see how all of the elements are going to fit well on those platforms and you want to use it, whether it's a wrist, what's it called, smartwatch application you're trying to develop. So you have that interface there, so you'll be able to play around with the fonts and all of the elements you're using. Quite alright. You also have paper for those that use UX for graphics. You have A4, A5, A6 letter. You have social media. Maybe you want to create a Twitter post. The dimensions are already there for you. You don't need to think about it. Maybe you want to create your Facebook profile. You can come here, click on. Once you click on it, let's say for instance now, I clicked on this. I have it here. This is the dimension for a Facebook page. It's very tiny, so I have to zoom in. So um that's about the frame. So we'll be creating, let's just start with frame. We'll be creating desktop, so I just prefer this. You can go for other options if you want a TV or whatever, but I just feel comfortable with desktop. So when you click on desktop, this particular frame comes up, and You are seeing desktop 2 because there's another frame that has desktop 1. So you can double click on this desktop 2 to edit it and make it maybe landing page, and you click out of it, and you will notice that it has also changed on this aspect and this section. So let me try to, okay. So you see all of this layout. So let's start. We definitely, when you're analyzing this, and you know that there's this particular background here, that green kind of background here, the clean background also is about us and supports. If you check the, you check the live page, you definitely see it here. It has this is about us and support. So you want to try to come up with something like this. So you can create a frame instead of this, but most importantly, you need to work with something that will guide you, like a guide. Basically, you have that in what you call in Photoshop. We usually use rulers like this to guide you, but here it is much more easy. Instead of you dragging on these rulers that are not regular, you can create a grid on this right hand side. So for frame, as I said, it has a lot of properties. Don't worry if it looks like all of this is much, but I just want to go narrow down to basics so that we won't spend much of our time here. So you have all of this position, layout, appearance, is how it appears, these round corners. You have the feel if you want to make it another color. And kudos to what we call to Figma. They've helped us with contrast. So if you pick any of this, the contrast to this with the back is not good. So you need to pick something light so that it can pop up. So you don't really have much problem as regards contrast again, like it we used to have before. So you can pick this. So let's start. You create a frame. Somebody that is used to shortcuts. But for everybody, you can come here to create a frame. But most times, just press F on your keyboard. It goes to that. So when you press V, it goes back to this first two. And you press F, it goes to frame. So you can just create this frame. I'll just try to see how fast we can go about that. You can create this frame inside. Then let me pick the color that I have in this color palette here. I want to believe you're still following me. So, and you click on this, and you can come to this fill on your right hand, come to this fill and click on the plus icon. You will definitely not see a change because the background itself is white. So until you make changes to this before you see that something's changing. So for you to be able to select a picture in a color somewhere, you can just click on this sample color, this eyedropper. For those that are conversant with Photoshop, you have it there. So you come here, pick this, and I think that's all. We have this already set up. So as I said earlier, I want to create a grid that will help me. So when you come to grid, we have a lot of grid system. We have the grid, you have column grid, basically columns. We have row grid, rows. So but we tend to use column grids and make it a count of 12 because of what we want to space inside. You can make it stretch, you make it centered depending on the preference you want and depending on the point you're working with. So I basically love to go around using this as an example, 78 and a gutter of 32. You can play around with all of this. It's not something that is a must, but it's just something that you can just play around with. At times I've designed without using this particular preset I use another one. So you can play around with that depending on you, depending on what you're doing. So you have this. So this will help you to organize your elements so you don't really have things scattered up and down. So you know that you're following that alignment. So first of all, the things you notice here is we have this about and this support that has this flag on top. So we can come here to create that and just press T or you come to this T icon. It enables you to write text. So by the time you click anywhere on the canvas, you can start writing. You can just call it and then on the website you have about, so about. You can decide to come here to typography section. You see bar. For every element you click, it has different properties. So you can come here to use intern and basically use intern. And this now has to do with what's it called? Sorry for going all of this. You don't need to know this yet. Still. So intern is generally part of the font to use because it has a lot of weight. So you intern is a good font. So possibly if you're using font like this, in fact, I wonder what you'll be doing using this kind of font. Just imagine you open a website and you see this kind of font in it. You definitely know it's not something you can read. So that's why we go with fonts that people can read. Intern is a good example. You have Poppins, you have Montserrat, you have all of those. So I think the ones that was used here, I'm trying to see. Excuse me. Okay, it's this one. So we can come with intern. So we have about. Then aside from about, we have support. Can also help you to correct it once you have a typo. So we have these two. Can take it. So we know we need to increase it up. So you notice that this red is disturbing us. You can come here to toggle it on off this particular eye property. So you can pick these two, take them up here, and you definitely notice that it is a white color. So you can make it FFFFF, or you come to this place and drag it up, and you see that it passes the contrast evaluation that this white can go on this green. So that's one thing that helps you with. You also notice that we have an icon. So definitely, I've not talked about this. I'll skip this too. I've talked about this text. Now I'll be going to these action buttons where you can come here. You have all, you have assets, you have plugins. But for now, what we want is plugins, and you search for this plugin called Iconify. So when you search for Iconify, click on it, loads, it comes up. For instance, if you're a first-time user, it will definitely be bringing you a much more bigger space when you ask you to load the plugins or whatever. So you can come here to search for what you want. So if you look at this now, it's like a kind of arrow down or drop down icon. So you can just search for arrow. Depends on wherever you search for arrow down, you will definitely see something. By the time you keep scrolling down, you definitely find them. Is that what we're looking for? So you can just click on it and import it, or you can just basically drag it here to come up. But you can also as well put it there. So there's something that comes with this. You look at this particular element and clicked on, it has a width of 32 and a height of 32. So I can play around with that. And that is where the scale come into play. Because when you use the move to to kind of say you want to adjust this, most time it doesn't work. And you see that it gets much more thick. The more you increase it, it gets light. The more you reduce it, it gets thick because that's not the best way to reduce it. So the best way to reduce it is to use scale. And you come to this first, you see scale, or you press scale on your keyboard. That will give you the opportunity to see that. So once you press scale on your keyboard, or you come to this particular place and press scale, you can come here to either increase it or reduce it. Then you can as well give it a particular, let's see it somewhere. You can size it up. Let me show it. So you can come here and change it from 25 to maybe like 12. And you see that it's something very small. You drag it up and you can adjust it as well here. So there is something called auto layout. Auto layout is what helps you to align your things, make them come together. So when you select this first item, you notice that on this you have them together. So you can select this, and press Shift A. When you right click, you can just say add auto layout. The same thing as Shift A. When you add auto layout, it comes with this separate panel where you can make it to the right, center, top, bottom, depending, but I'll just make it center to the right. So you can also change this color. So when you keep selecting the element, it goes to where you want. You come here to colors, you can change it to from back. You see that it's already on the gray, the path that is not good. You can move it up, then you have it here. So Um, you can play around with all of these properties. Let's say two. And for the sake of time, I'll just duplicate this, select this. You can just play around with it. There's not the best way to it. It depends on how you are used to it. So I can just come here and paste it here. And basically what I did is just to press Ctrl V. It comes here and I can come here and delete this. So I have that there. So I don't need this again anymore. I can get rid of this since I already have it here. So we can take these two, put it side by side, and this also is an auto layout. I don't know if you are still following me. Maybe you can unmute and just say yes. I know that's following me. So, all right. I have a lot of assets here that I've picked so that will help me to speed up a bit. So I think I have, yeah, you can pick up this particular sign. You can come somewhere, you can just go anywhere and pick it up. You can also search it up here, maybe Canada. You can have it here, so you can pick any of this and just drag it out, move it, bring it into this. So you have this, so you can just select these, the three of them. They are all in this frame. And I can rename this frame like pressing Ctrl R, which I like this for me. I can pick it and nav bar. And if you remember, I told you that there's something that is very important to have in navigation. You have the arrow section and all of this stuff. So I can make this also an auto layout. I love auto layout a lot because it helps you to organize your work. Shift A, place it in auto layout, and you put it there. So for you to be able to know how far you are, if you are still working with the grid created, you can press. Sorry, I'm mentioning a lot of shortcuts, but with time we get used to it. So you can, instead of going to this particular frame to select this and coming down to come and on this, turn this off, you can just press Shift G. So when you press Shift G, it goes on and off. So Shift G gives you the ability to see this, so you can just align it. So, sorry, you can zoom in and place it well. So with that being done, we need this home and office stuff. So I think I created some here so that it can also be fast. This already is an auto layout. So I'll be selecting all of this so I can be faster. So we have all of this. So you notice you have branch here and here also. I'm trying this. And adjust all of this text because it has the background that we are using. Okay, fine. Probably this particular icon, right? And this circle can be that fill color. So you have that this branch instead of this, I think I'll be writing text. I'll just write branch. Just want to use just this for demonstration so that we can move faster. Make this all clear. Take this off. So, so I make it white, sort of black is 000. I can make it white. The reason it's showing this is because it cannot work on this background, but when I bring it here, if you want to pass that test. So I can increase it by coming to this 12, jump it up to whatever number I want to jump it up to. You have that here. Then also we have this search icon and all this text. So we put in these two guys here, which are the icons of so prepared, jump them here. So I'll make them white. Then you visible. If you go back to design my office, chat with Caesar. So one of the things you can do is pick a text, and I'll be using one of the things that is good for UI is you don't really need to create things from scratch. So I can pick this, I duplicate it, and I can move it out, and I can delete what I don't want by coming to this section here, looking for what is highlighted, and open it up. I have the support, I have the icon, I can turn it off since I don't need it, so that I can reuse it. So we need a text of design my office. I'll be interested in PDF images. So now since is already in auto layout, I can space it out by giving this horizontal padding of maybe let's say 4 and a vertical padding of let's say 2. And you will notice that it's a field, so I can put that field here. Definitely this is not going to work out well because the text inside needs to be this color. So instead of going around here trying to pick this, you can just press I on your keyboard. It gives you the opportunity to go there straight. So now with all of these values, so we have it like this, and you notice that it's all straight. So I don't need to do for the second one. I just have to duplicate this. That pressing on Alt or I press Ctrl D is still doing the same thing. Don't pardon me, I've been used to. So when you press Ctrl D, you can just drag it out. So chat with sales. Click until you get to the element. Chat this as that stroke instead of field. So you can click on this outside frame and come to this section instead of field, you give it a stroke and you take away the field and make the stroke white, bringing it up here. Now the text inside needs also to be white, so you can come here to make it, let's drag it up here to be white. So we have that already. So what we need to do is just to put them in auto layout, which I've always been doing because I like the way auto layout helps you to balance everything out. So you just select everything. Also, in just like for most of the people that are conversant with Photoshop, do not really have much problem with Figma because they see all of those things you do on Photoshop. So you can do your alignment here and bring everything together. Align them to the top, to the side, middle, center, left, and all those alignments. So we do justice to my
ọmọ yẹn tó ẹgbẹ́ security complex ń bàjá láti. Ok, ṣé èyí
No, can you hear me? Sorry, I think I went off. Alright, so I can see the question back. Sorry. So can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? Okay, thank you. So you have just you have this year and you have this year already. So at the same time, you can put them in auto layout so that your work can look very neat. So the essence of auto layout is just to make a balance and just place all of those things and make sure they are good. So auto layout helps you with a lot of things. As I said, you can make it center, you can make it to the bottom. I think I would love to make this to the bottom. And at the same time, instead of having a number, I can just make it auto, express auto inside. So auto is now going to make sure that it's going to align all of these spaces as I adjust the edges. So if I drag it to this particular edge, it's going to adjust the spaces in between of it equally without me distorting anything. Just praying I will be able to work with this at time because time is not it is not so difficult. So I think I can't do that thing I do here because I'm sharing the screen and copy, copy the property. So not like I want to create a replica, but I just want us to have a feel of how it looks like punch. I think it's not cut everything. So I'll cut it and say branch business. So you can just let's just make it branch. So we need the next we need is we need this white section that has explores and all of these menus. So to do that quickly, we'll create another frame by clicking on F or coming here to select another frame. So basically you can just come up with all of this and try to have this first so that you can adjust it up the image that and one of the good things about Figma is when you're dragging something it gives you all of those smart uh, options whereby you see if it is aligning well, if it is doing very good. So the next should be having is all of this also. And as I said, you don't need to be creating them all over again. You can just pick this and reuse this. So you can just copy it, come to this place, the second frame, and you come to this section here where you have the now. And I think I want to hide all of this so that to scatter all of this. So because I'm working with this, that's why I'm having this landing page. So I can come here and paste it inside of this. And I can make it come here. So I can duplicate all of this. Or as well put it in auto layout so that I'll be able to duplicate it. So auto layout is just what makes your work easy. You don't need to go back and forth. Explore, explore sitting. And all of these things, I think for the sake of time, I'll not be doing all of this. I'll just duplicate this sitting to mean every of those things that we also want to do. So one thing is Figma is very good in helping you to customize your text. You can just click on this icon. Apart from just the normal regular picking the weight to be regular or light, the font size. the line height, the spacing, the letter spacing, the alignment to the right, center, or left, align to the top. You can also comment to other properties whereby you can make everything capital letter. So you don't need to really use caps lock to type on, then you can also do it at the end of everything. So now that I have done all of this, so and I can as well, since this is an auto layout already, I can center it to this particular frame by clicking on this centers, clicking on this, so it sits well to this. But for the sake of what we are doing, since we want to a bit follow this, I think we need to space it a bit so that I can just even to it. So we have this, then the next one is the image. So you can create another frame to house the image because you want to basically section of your work so that it will not be messy. So I don't know if you have any questions, you can just be asking as we move very fast. I'll just paste it here because I copied it, this image. Okay, I'll just don't worry about whatever you come up with, it's just the first time, the time you get used to film. So we need a text here. You can just pick all of these are text, copy it, come here, or you just press T and start another thing entirely. So let me copy the just paste it here and increase maybe to something like say 64 and change the weight to maybe something like this. Depending on what I want to do, I can just lower it down, maybe 54. Make it so this depends on you then making sure that it fits into this property that we have been working with want it to be aligned. So aside that, you see that there's another text here, this text. So you can duplicate this, Ctrl D, bring it down, select it, paste it inside. Then you can reduce the size to let's say 32. So while I was starting UIs, I usually think there are rules to all of this, but later I discovered that there are not rules to all of this, to the number of pixels you use, all of those stuff. It just depends on how it looks. If it looks good, then you are good to go. I remove this. Come here as well and remove this caps lock so that everything can be small. So I can take it away from semi good to regular or in fact light. Can adjust the line height sometimes. I use percentage. You can use 100 percentage. Get rid of all of those unnecessary spaces. Or yeah. Then we need a call to action button. This is what you call call to action button. You can just pick any of these. You can still come here and you use it. You copy it. Come to your hero section. You paste it. Then you can drag it down. Make it bigger. So you can also as well make it bigger than this, but you notice that it's distorted, and that has to do with you adjusting it here so that it can fit in it. So once it's adjusted here, you don't have problem again. No matter how you adjust it, it wraps with it. So you can also bump this up and make it maybe like 16 or 14 so that you can house what we want to do. And in that button as a short now. Okay. So I definitely saw that there's an issue with this because by the time we take up our grid, it's hard to see this. So there's a way you can adjust that and you can create a rectangle. So coming to rectangle, you can create a rectangle on this. So when you create this rectangle, you can take it to the back by coming to your left hand and adjusting it. These are other properties on that same frame that we call, let me name it as view. So you can bring the rectangle down so that it can also make this. So you can bring it up to this edge, bring it down to this edge. You can take it a bit here so that we can, instead of use fill, when you click on this, we have fill. Instead of, you have all of these options. This is for gradient, this is for image, this is for video. So you can put in anything you want here depending on the platform you want to use it for. So for gradients, I'll tend to use this, adjust to make this, stripping it. I'll still make it the same color at the end and at the end. But the other thing is I'll just reduce the opacity to 0, how it shows. So I can just increase this also so that what I actually need to see here, this call to action button will be very vivid, and though it's not really good, you can as well adjust it, but this to an extent it works well. So you can bump everything up into auto layout. I'll just tell you to, you notice I've been shouting auto layout, auto layout, auto layout. It's just for you to have a very good arrangement before you're doing auto layout. And you turn on my grid again and ensure that we are still on that space. So we are done with this. I think you are just left with need help, take quiz, so you can do that. So basically, let me try to talk about how it looks like. This is the navigation bar where you have all of these menus and all of these buttons. Also, this is hero section. For this, they have this feature that helps you to see what press is saying about them. They have where are you work, wherever you are, work your best by showing you some of the things, whether you are home office or all of this. They have explore our products. We have all of these sections, our story, our sellers. So depending on whatever you want to come up with, this is the testimonial section. Definitely you should have a footer. So as I said, you have a navigation and a footer. That one is very important to have all of this. So we've been able to cover this and this today. And I will try to share this particular Figma file so that you can also try to play around with it, because by the time we get to somewhere around here, other things and other things that are really hard to explore. So at least this will form like a basis. But I think since I don't want us to be cumbered with a lot of things now, maybe I will just likely want to stop at this end. So by the time I'm doing this, we can take a pause to analyze, okay, if you have any questions so that you can answer that because of our time. And maybe if you have another good time, we can wrap up with all of those. But I feel like this should give us like an intro into what UI UX is all about, what we do in UI UX, and how we go about things in UI UX. Try to see if I can publish that. So let me wrap it up with this other section and create a frame. We're coming to this place and creating on this frame and coming up with that also. Okay. This show me all of those leg lines because it's trying to snap it and bring this inside. It's already going out. So for people that will be noticing when you are working, maybe sometimes you notice that what you're doing is outside, like this now. It's outside and it's covering everywhere. Here it is inside the frame. You can use this clip content. This helps you to do with every other thing that is not inside, that is outside the frame. So it's always showing you what is inside the frame. So um this, can you stop that? And then we're doing that. Can you stop it? Thanks. So we notice that this has this image here, so you can use your eye tool. Just press I, the eyedropper tool to pick the image, to pick that field. So some of these logos, I think I have some here. Yeah, this, you have CNN, you have, let me just pick this three. And you have those three there. There you go, you just see three. Just put them inside of this. It's completely I've pasted them here. So I can come back to the site to see what the date, there's a press, there's a text, and all of this. And this is currently the text you have. Now, this is the talking about the UX part of it, the experience, not just the design. Now, when the user hover on this, you see that it changes the feel. And when you click on it, there's a particular thing that happens. So this is actually the UX part of the UI. So you're thinking about what should happen when a user clicks on it, what exactly should happen? What should be the next thing? If you look at this button now, this is a radio button. I toggle this on and off, it changes. And this is something that the designer has put in place that when the user turns this off, something should happen. You will definitely see that there's something happening. And it's also still another UI you are seeing. So it depends on what you are doing also. So you can just let's have this press and all of these text, put them all in. So T for text, we have press, they call it caps lock, and we have this. Let me copy this particular code. You can find out how to copy it. So let me kind of inspect it to pick up. That takes away if so. Sorry, I think I went off again. So you can have this, wrap it out. This is now where you need all of these properties. You need to make it center aligned. You arrange this properly in this. So to arrange it also here, you can come to this alignment property here and make it center. And also you can just bring it down here. Select the first one, the press. With holding on shift, select the second one, shift A, put that in also in auto layout for you. You can balance it here also and make sure that's at the center. So we have all of these also. You can put them in auto layout with shift A. That also is auto layout already so that you can wrap them up into what we want to do. And since you notice that there was a time I came here, instead of pressing the number, I pressed auto. And that helps me to be able to adjust it without trying to know, okay, which number fits in well. So this will just help you to just keep to bypass you filling all of those. So I select the two, auto layout, try to adjust this maybe like 32 or 42, see what size fits well. You can increase this particular frame and make sure that this is centered inside of it, centered horizontally and vertically. So I think with that, you have done a very good job by creating this and possibly maybe try to use this um, IT, yeah, this one. Guess that's what he used. So with that, you successfully creating this navigation area section and any other place, any other design that you want to create, you can just keep adding them. Just keep increasing your frame, keep increasing it down, down, down to accommodate every other thing you want to do. And I think without wasting much of the time, I think I want to anchor at this point to ask for question and answer so that while listening to that, we can possibly address maybe we can possibly address um, anything you want to do. So I think at this point I'll be waiting for question and answer why I continue with other stuff on it so that you will not just stay here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you
So over
very
to you,
much,
Mom's right.
Mr. Goodness. Thank you for this session. So, this is the time for you guys to drop your questions or raise your hands, drop a react, drop your questions now. And the attendance has been dropped in the comment section of the Zoom, and you to fill in your attendance. So kindly drop your questions for the session ends. We'll be waiting for questions. Okay, Mr. Goodness, we have one question.
Okay.
The person asks, is Figma tailored for web design only? And can we use the SW like Adobe Peers you've been using for us since the beginning of the class?
Okay. I didn't get what the person mean by the SW and the explicit. So Figma is not just okay software. Thank you. So Figma is not just a web design software alone. You can also create mobile. If I get your question right, is Figma tailored for web design only? Something no, because yeah, if I come to frame and come to this frame and I come to phone, I can create maybe like my phone 16 tab where I have the opportunity to now, if you notice, if you remember from the slide, I said it is the role of visual UX designer to ensure that the design is responsive. So I can come here and start creating this same headline again, this same navigation bar again, and this will now be for a mobile version. And I'll make sure that all of this thing comes very sleek and nice. And so Figma is not only for designing websites, you can design application also. There are tons of applications that I've designed with Figma. So you can also play along with that. So depending on whatever you want to do. I don't know if I answered your question, saying that can be used. So you can use Figma to design web, to design applications. but it's just that Figma gives you much more flexibility. It's like it Figma helps you to prototype. Adobe Photoshop will not help you to prototype because this particular design that I've done here, we can as well prototype it and see how it's going to look like and come just click on the frame, come to this play button, and you click on this play button. You're going to open this up for you, where it's going to show you how it's going to look like. Let me try to see if it's going to look that much. So to definitely show you something that looks like this, where you see, okay, this is how it's going to look like now. If you are viewing it on the browser, this is how we are going to see what we have done so far. So Photoshop will not give you the opportunity to check all of those. In fact, there are other big stuffs that you can do as well. From this, I want to try to see if I can open up on my files to show you some of the things that you can actually do with Figma that has like it has an edge over Photoshop. So when it comes to prototype, Photoshop cannot just help you to do all of those stuff you want to do because it's limited. So I think I've been able to answer your question to an extent. Well, I'm trying to open up that. I don't know if there's any other question. So I don't know if you have any other question. So I'm trying to open it up for the sake of somebody that okay, sorry. I actually opened it up for the sake of the person that asked. So I did this on Figma. You don't have the opportunity to do this to pause and play this video using Photoshop. Figma gives you the opportunity to pause. This is prototype now, where you can see how it looks like. You can pause it and to actually pause the video. You can see all of this interaction. Photoshop will not give you all of this. So that's the advantage that Figma has to all of those things that you just called us for. So all of these little interactions that you're doing here that looks like the original website, Figma and Photoshop cannot allow you to do all of those. I think that answers your question. So I don't know, is there any other question? Okay, someone is asking about class material. Sorry, I will definitely upload all of those materials or upload all of those materials so that you can have access to it. Sorry about that. Okay, Miss Farina,
Yes.
okay. You don't have any other question?
Okay, so we'll take that as there being no further questions and we'll end the class. We'll end the class by 5:50 so that everyone has been able to fill in their attendance. Mr. Goodness, thank you very much for this session. End the class once it is 6 p.m. And please, usually when we say that we included the attendance, it means that it is on the chat. And if you've been on the chat for a while, you're going to see it once you scroll. It is being sent multiple times, so check the chat again.
Okay, sorry, I want to chip in this so we can as well on our own, if you're interested in it, can open Figma, try to go through the interface. And if you have any questions, you can also reach out to me. I think I'll be able to put you through any of your problems. So thank you very much.
Recording stopped.
Okay. I can see where the problem was. I was sending it as a direct message, sorry. Can you see the attendance link now? That is Miss Kehinde. Kindly fill in the attendance. It's been sent over and over and over again. And you can leave the call once you're done filling in your attendance. Okay, that's it. See you all next week. And the web design class will be tomorrow.